This is the XPeng G9. Doesn't ring a bell? Same here, but I'll try to find out more about it and share what I know with you. I compared the XPeng G9 against the BMW iX. Channel members can watch this review early and without ads. XPeng is an abbreviation of Guangzhou Xiaopeng Motors Technology Company Limited. It was founded in 2014 and production of the first model began in 2018. The XPeng G9 is a mid-sized SUV roughly the size of the Lexus RX, BMW iX or the Volvo XC90. It is no coincidence that I'm comparing it to premium models because XPeng is considered a premium brand. XPeng is worth keeping an eye on because in 2024 the company signed an agreement with Volkswagen Group to cooperate on development of platforms and software. Taking into account the current level of software development at VW, I assume that whatever XPeng brings in can only be better. And when it comes to boring exterior design, even Volkswagen can still learn from XPeng. Under the bonnet, which you release like in a BMW with two pulls of a lever, there is a frunk, perfect to pop in a charging cable, but even a cabin-sized suitcase will fit here. Volkswagen could copy this, the frunk I mean, and BMW for that matter, and Renault, and the entire Stellantis group. And XPeng says this is 71 liters and yeah, looks like it. The actual boot, according to the specification, has 660 liters in 5-seat configuration. I suppose that's including the underfloor storage compartment. After folding the backrest in the second row, which can be done using buttons in the boot, the cargo volume increases to almost 1780 liters. There is also a 12-volt outlet and one shopping bag hook. The boot can be opened and closed with gesture, a button on the boot lid, or using a remote control. As is the case in many Chinese cars, the rear passengers are the most important, so there is always plenty of legroom in the back. In smaller vehicles, this is often achieved at the expense of luggage space, and in larger vehicles, at the expense of space for the passengers traveling in the front. The driver's seat is set to my driving position. I'm 175 centimeters tall. The front passenger seat is pushed all the way back, and there is no significant difference. The seats are very comfortable, soft with adjustable backrest angle and thigh support length. And there's even a massage function. On all passenger doors there is an additional button that can be programmed to mute the media. Other functions either can't be assigned to it or I couldn't find them. More on that in a moment. In addition, there are large door pockets, pockets in the front seat backs, air conditioning vents but no rear zone climate control, armrest with cup holders but no ski hatch. The backrest splits 40-60. Isofix anchor points are only in the back. The floor is flat and there is foot space under the center console for the middle passenger. Down there are also one USB-A and one USB-C port. Doors cover the sills. The XPeng G9 cockpit is somewhat of a cross between a Tesla and Mercedes EQE or EQS. Like in the Tesla, some of the features are controlled on the screen or with the buttons on the steering wheel after selecting an appropriate function from the screen. And similarly to Mercedes, there's also an additional multimedia display for the passenger in the front. But in the Mercedes, the hyperscreen somehow doesn't reflect as much that's happening outside the window as the XPeng screen does. While driving, I constantly see these reflections in my peripheral vision. If their internet connection is strong enough, the passenger can stream videos also while the car is moving. This is a special screen that can only be seen when you're sitting directly in front of it. The driver isn't supposed to see it, however, lean a bit to the side and you start to see what's playing. Theoretically, the driver attention monitor should catch this, but this system, like many others, can be easily turned off. For example, when ESA, the semi-intelligent speed assist, goes off for the first time, a prompt is displayed on the screen asking whether you'd like to turn such warnings off. Of course I do, so the beeper doesn't bother me anymore. The front passenger seat has a fold-out footrest, but because the priority is the rear passenger space, the front seat doesn't go back far enough. Actually, it doesn't go back anymore, so it's not really comfortable. Also, leaning back, the passenger cannot reach the screen, and it's only controlled by touch. There is no remote control, there are no headphones, so everyone will listen to the soundtrack of whatever the front passenger is watching. In front of the driver is a virtual gauge cluster. I get the impression that there is not much that can be changed in here. In general, many settings are either missing or I cannot find them, or they are only available after logging into the XPeng account. For example, if you're not logged in, you can only save a seat position for one person. Log in and you can save several. Pairing the XPeng app is only possible through the dealer, and the menu is somewhat confusing. I couldn't find a way to disable comfortable access. I don't want the seat to move when I open the door. Similarly, I was unable to find the settings to stop the car from honking every time I lock it. The English translation of the owner's manual leaves a lot to be desired. One of the first things that caught my eye were penetrating lights, and as far as I could tell, they're not even talking about the headlights. Only when I was handing the car back, the dealer told me where to find the settings I couldn't locate, not where I thought they would be. But apart from that, it's not bad. There are large door pockets. The basic functions of the air conditioning are on the screen, but they are always in the top menu layer. The airflow is controlled from the screen, but it's not the first nor the last car like that. Having learned from experience with other Chinese cars, I know that there's almost certainly an unmarked pull-down menu with shortcuts. Well, I don't really know if these are shortcuts or is this a separate menu, because some of the features seem to be only here. Now, there is a good cubby here under the console. On the console there is a decent wireless charger for 2 phones, 2 cup holders, a cooled storage compartment under the armrest. The glove box is relatively large. In principle, this is a very pleasant interior and I don't have much to complain about here. Imagine that. The XPeng G9 is available in 3 powertrain and battery variants. The 313 horsepower rear-wheel drive standard range with 78 kilowatt-hour LFP battery and a range of up to 460 kilometers. The 313 horsepower rear-wheel drive long range with a 98 kilowatt-hour NMC battery and a range of up to 570 kilometers, and the 551 horsepower performance all-wheel drive. The performance model gets the same larger battery and a range of up to 520 kilometers. XPeng provides the gross battery capacity. According to what I found online, the larger battery has a net capacity of about 93 kilowatt hours. The most powerful G9 accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in 3.9 seconds, while the test model should reach 100 km per hour in 6.4 seconds. I checked. In normal mode, it was within a margin of error. In sport mode, it was almost quarter of a second quicker. And now pay attention, the XPeng G9 in the long-range variant can fast charge up to 300 kilowatts. I've even seen better results in online tests. This means charging from 10 to 80% in 20 minutes. European car manufacturers are currently sticking to 30, maybe high 20-something minutes in this charging range. The promised energy consumption in the mixed cycle is about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. In the city, I saw better economy, so 570 kilometers in urban conditions is realistic. It will be worse on the motorway, but if you have really fast chargers along the way, 20-minute stops are a game changer when it comes to EV travel. And how does this game changer ride and handle? Well, like it looks, meh. Don't get me wrong, not everybody expects or wants engaging handling. On straight roads, the G9 is quite comfortable, relatively quiet, sufficiently unobtrusive. Now, visibility is bad. These plastic triangles around the wing mirrors don't help. And rear visibility is limited by massive headrests, which I'm sure are very comfortable for the passengers. On larger bumps, the suspension doesn't feel very sophisticated. Also, fast and abrupt maneuvers seem to unsettle the G9. Driver assistance systems work well, sort of. Again, I could not figure out how to turn the X-Pilot semi-autonomous driving feature on. You have to pull the drive selector lever down twice, like on a Tesla. However, the dealer explained, I have to do it really hard for the system to register it. Hence, I tested the X-Pilot for maybe 10 or 15 minutes just before I handed the test car over. It seems okay. According to specification, the XPeng G9 has numerous millimeter wave radars, ultrasonic sensors and cameras, but some information and warnings are displayed much too late to be useful, and the parking sensors, like in a Tesla, display a moderately accurate measurement in centimeters. Cameras can also be easily fooled. For example, a GoPro was perceived as a motorcyclist. The XPeng G9 can be paired with a mobile app that can only be done by the dealer, by the way. The app may, if you need to, replace your key, so you don't have to have your key, just your phone on you, and that's good enough to open the door, close the door, start the car, like on a Tesla. Using the XPeng app, you can also roll the car forward or backwards, or even park it. You still have to find a parking space while you're behind the wheel, but then you can exit the car and park it using the app. Would I park faster myself? Definitely, but I assume that someone might have a tight parking space and wants to avoid rubbing against other cars. It definitely works faster and better than in any other car I've tested so far. Prices of the XPeng G9 are very competitive. The standard range model starts at €59,600. This test car in the long-range form with extras costs €68,560. That's a lot less than the European and Japanese competition, and also considerably less than the Chinese Voya-free electric SUV. And I have nothing more to add here. A solid interior, average driving characteristics, no frills exterior design. Sounds like 3/4 of European EVs. If you're leasing a new car every couple of years, this is definitely worth checking out. And how do you like the XPeng G9? Drop me a comment below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.